Hey everyone, Sean Smith here, and today's module will cover PPC Agility, which is my Amazon PPC software. And, really the reason I'm building this module is just to kind of not only, kind of do like a demo walkthrough where I can show the features, but I also want to show why they're important, why they're valuable, things like that. That way you can see the return on investment for your Amazon business. So here's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover real quick PPC Agility's origin story, kind of why I built it, what inspired me to build it. Second, we'll cover the benefits for Amazon sellers, PPC consultants, and PPC agency owners. We'll cover the cut formulas. So these are the formulas that we use to make bid optimization changes. I'll cover that in depth. I'll cover the G formula as well. And then I'll also cover the remaining formulas and features. So PPC Agility's origin story. So why did I build PPC Agility? So basically I'm going to cover, why I created PPC. First, I'll cover, creating PPC Agility was something I did to solve a huge problem at the time. No bid optimization software. I'll elaborate on that in a sec. Focusing on painstaking simplicity. So I feel that PPC Agility's biggest differentiator and advantage in the market is its simplicity. And it is very different from most softwares on the market. And you're going to see that, very, very different. So Genesis 2017, I've been doing Amazon advertising for years. And one thing, basically that I noticed was that at the time, there were not a lot of Amazon at the time when I was, starting off, there were not a lot of Amazon PPC softwares out there, Amazon advertising softwares. And they mainly focused on reporting, like analytics at the time. And so the reason I, started investing in software and building it was just because I wanted to focus on bid optimization. I wanted to kind of be the only one who had bid optimization because to my knowledge, maybe there was something I didn't know, but at the time, to my knowledge, there were not a lot or any that did bid optimizations at the time. Now there's a lot more, but during this time frame, this was early on in the Amazon PPC days, and there was not softwares doing Amazon bid optimization. So, Amazon, this is my first API call with my developer back in March 1st, 2017. That was kind of the start of, figuring out, hey, how do we build this thing? And like I said before, problem at the time was no bid optimization software. So, there weren't any, man. I mean, not that I knew of. I said before, there might have been a few that I didn't know about, but to my knowledge, there wasn't. It was mainly, at the time, the softwares were focusing on analytics. And another thing we really wanted to focus on with our software was the painstaking simplicity. So you're probably wondering, why is Google here? So this is what I did to my developer when I hired him. I took a screenshot of Google, literally, if you go to google.com, and I said, I want our software to be as simple as Google's or somewhere near it. So, and I know that, it's nothing, I know a lot of softwares use analytics and things like that. At the time, we didn't want to focus on that because we had analytics softwares already existed, but bid optimizations didn't. But so when we built it, we were let's just try to keep it as simple as possible. And I would say kind of what our differentiator or what's different from us and other softwares is we have a simple UI and functionality. It is dead simple. We do empower sellers with education. So when we did PPC Agility, we focused on keeping it just for our students. I did open it up to the public for a little bit, but I wanted to really focus on providing it for my students just because they needed the education. They needed to know why PPC Agility was beneficial for them. And then other softwares, I don't know all of them, but a lot of them I saw, they just kind of were like modified campaign managers where they built analytics and things like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that ours is different. We don't have that. And guys, I always say, more features do not always equal more benefits. So when you're evaluating softwares or evaluating anything in life, focus on the results that you're going to get, not necessarily the features. You don't want to get a million things and you don't know how to use any of them. Or would you have one thing that's super powerful and you know exactly the return it gets for you? You know what I mean? So, more features do not always equals more benefits. And that's why I wanted to keep it simple. So let's go over quickly the benefits for Amazon sellers, PPC consultants, and PPC agency owners. And the reason I want to cover the benefits is because really the only reason that a person would invest in using my software is if they got a benefit from it, a return on investment. And so, I just wanted to go over that. And I'm going to go over that a bit more as well later in the presentation when we go over the formula specifically. But just want to show the benefits because, you need to know how this can provide a return on investment for you before you make the investment. And in this section, we'll cover minimal input, maximal output, and how efficiency is at the heart of PPC Agility's functionality. Advertising console, I'll cover an example showing how the ad console wastes a ton of time when it comes to optimizing bids. And then PPC Agility software. You'll see how the software saves a ton of time and allows you to focus on more important pieces of your business. Minimal input, maximal output example. Email versus mail. So this is a really good example. I felt like this is a great example, especially people who use the internet. So here's a question. How long does it take an email today to be sent from New York to Philadelphia versus mail in the 1700s? So Gmail or email, you see on the left-hand side, it takes a few seconds to a couple of minutes, right? To receive an email, send and receive an email. Like if you were in New York and you sent an email to someone in Philadelphia, it would take a few seconds, maybe a couple minutes. And then in the 1700s, it took 14 days. So think about that, man. Like when I looked up this example and I was like thinking about this, I was blown away by, the improvements we made in communication and how we, in this specific example, efficiency is at the heart of what's going on here. So in this example, email equals minimal input, maximal output, right? You put in a minimal amount of effort and you receive a huge return. 1700s mail was maximal input, minimal output. That means, you have to write the letter, you've got to get it to the post office or whatever it was. Then they have to send someone out, a human, to travel for 14 days. They probably got to pay that human, feed that human, and basically like put in a ton of effort just to deliver one piece of mail. So tons of it in minimal output compared to email, right? Now, if we were living in the 1700s, we might be like, mail is great. 50 years ago, we didn't even have mail. So I know it is relative, but this example just shows, is an example of what I'm talking about and how this was at the core of PPC Agility. So let's go over some PPC Agility scenarios. So I'm going to compare Advertising Console and the PPC Agility software. And I'm going to show you how more efficient the software is. So I know this is kind of a lot, but like this is like a math scenario. So I'll walk through it. I love math and logic and things like that. And so just because it shows the power of things when you do it correctly. And so that's why I wanted to put this together. I know it's a lot of writing and most of my slides don't have it, but trust me, it'll be worth it. So we've got one campaign with one ad group and 50 keywords, and that takes 20 minutes per week to optimize bids, right? Now, it's unrealistic that you'd only have one campaign as you scale your Amazon business. You will launch more, right? I've looked at hundreds of accounts over the years, and I've never seen one well optimized Amazon account with only one campaign, right? People launch multiple campaigns. So let's say 2 weeks later, 14 days later, you decide to launch 9 campaigns, and they take roughly 20 minutes per week to optimize the bids. Now, I just want to note that I know this isn't a realistic scenario because optimizing individual campaigns varies in their length of time. Sometimes you might not even optimize them. A lot of people, if it has a low ACOS, they won't even touch it. But I'm just using these numbers for the sake of simplicity, just to give us, some straight numbers. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of let's say you only do 7 out of 9, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be as simple as possible here. So let's say you have 10 campaigns and it takes 20 minutes to optimize them. That's 200 minutes optimizing bids using Advertising Console, right? You see how the time adds up, right? And it's because you have to click on each individual campaign to open it, each individual ad group to open it, and then you can make changes to keywords. That takes a ton of time because, it's just clicking. You have to click. It just takes a ton of time. It's intense. It's extremely inefficient and it doesn't scale. And that does not even include the time you need to take to analyze results from the changes you made. So not only do you need to make changes, but you also need to analyze cause and effect. So I didn't include that here. We're just focusing on the optimization side. So the actual actions taken here for the bid optimizations. So that's the Advertising Console, 200 minutes, to optimize it. Let's say you do it once weekly. So in PPC Agility software, it takes about 30 minutes to set up the formula schedules. So you can schedule bid optimizations so that they run automatically. And what I mean by set up the formula is that you can schedule optimizations on a weekly basis so they automatically run. So that's just what pretty much repeating myself there. But once the formula schedules are set up, it takes 0 minutes to optimize bids. Minimal input, maximal output. It doesn't matter if you have 10 keywords or 10,000 keywords. That means you would go from 200 minutes per week to 0 minutes per week optimizing, actually making changes. The software would save you more than 3 hours per week and 12 hours per month in this specific example. And this is huge for you because as an entrepreneur, it's important to minimize tedious tasks so you can spend your time on more important aspects of the business. Now, this does not mean that this is a hands-off software. You do need to take time to analyze the results and outcomes of the formulas. So that will take time, right? So I'm talking like time to optimize is 0 minutes, but time to analyze, you need to put time for that. But you would have to do that with the Advertising Console as well. So you can see here, minimal input, maximal output. So benefits to Amazon sellers. Well, number one, you saw that one benefit was that you'll go from spending, in this example, 200 minutes to 0 minutes, optimizing bids, which saves you a ton of time. So what can you do with that time? You can focus on PPC analysis and innovation. This gives you extra time to build more custom SOPs for your PPC and analyze cause and effect. I kind of talked about the analysis a little earlier. And it gives you time for more important growth projects for the business. For example, launching more SKUs. As you guys know, to scale an Amazon business, really launching SKUs is important. I would say launching SKUs, generating more traffic to your listings, and then improving your conversion rate are really important. So the software will allow you to spend your time more on other areas of growth. Benefits to Amazon PPC consultants and agency owners. I put this in here because I work with both, and I've done consulting, an agency. That's kind of how I got started, so I know the benefits to it. So scale. You can run these formulas on hundreds of accounts without doing anything. This means you can focus on signing more clients and making more money, right? If imagine if you had to go in and optimize each account, you had 10 accounts. Imagine having to do 200 minutes per account. You know what I mean? That adds up to where you can just do nothing. You're not doing nothing. You're just working smarter, right? I don't want to, position this as, we're doing nothing. We're just working smart here. And at the end of the day, it's all about the results you get for others. USP, which is unique selling proposition. You can discuss the software on sales calls and use it as a unique selling point. And then reporting. So the cool thing is you can export the results as a CSV and then send them as reporting to clients. This increases your value to clients and helps with client retention. So there's a feature that allows you to export the previous bid and the new bid. So you can show the bid changes at the keyword level, and then you can just share it with your clients and be like, hey, these are the changes we made this week, or and things like that. And they can get some insight into what you're doing. So in this example, kind of like the email versus mail, 1700s mail, PPC Agility software, minimal input, maximal output, advertising console, maximal input, minimal output. So same concept as before. Advertising console, you're doing a lot of work for a small result, versus software, you're doing like a lot less work for the same result as the console. Cut formulas. So let's go over the cut formulas. This is a formula within PPC Agility, and yeah, let's hop right in. So within this section, I am going to quickly go over Amazon's tendency to overspend. I will cover the reason why I created this formula and the problem it solved for me years ago. This was my really core formula because of what I saw with Amazon. Cut formula variables. The details of this formula are important, and that's why I want to cover each variable in the formula and the optimization action taken to cut wasted PPC spend. And then PPC Agility. I will open up PPC Agility and show you the cut formulas and the ad types they cover. I will also show you how to analyze results using the ad console and PPC Agility. So let's jump right in. Amazon's tendency to overspend and how it threatened my performance for my clients. So, everybody has their hypotheses and their viewpoints and opinions on Amazon advertising and how you should do it. I mean, it's across the board. But one thing that we noticed is Amazon likes to spend your money, your advertising money, man. Spend adds up quickly. It really does. And that's why you have to be really vigilant with your optimizations and make sure that Amazon doesn't overspend. So when I was doing Amazon PPC, what I noticed early on, because when I started, I had no internet advertising experience. I never heard of a pivot table. I had no analytics experience. I mean, I was just fresh as it comes, man. Because in university, I didn't study anything analytical. And so getting into Amazon advertising, I had to really learn quickly. And one thing I learned was, early on, I'd be like trying to get, spending my time in Campaign Manager, Advertising Console, and just thinking, right? Just sitting there thinking like, why when I launch a campaign, it, so many clicks and this, that, or the other. So, and Amazon, man, they just love to spend the money, man, so quickly too. So, I had to create a solution for myself, because if I didn't, my clients would leave me and I would lose money. And, ultimately, like I want to make sure that my clients get a return on investment for a couple reasons. Number one, it, pays my bills and helps me reach my financial goals. And number two, it pays their bills and helps them reach their financial goals. It's pretty simple. So, it was in our interest, me and my clients, for me to get better and learn more about this, so that I could control spend and get them better results so they would stay with me for longer. So let's go over the cut formula variables. So, this is the reason I created the cut formula. Like I said before, Amazon overspends, and so it resulted in me creating this. And let's go over the variables. I know I'm kind of a nerd and I like to talk about the details, but that's just, it's because it's fun. Variable 1, time frame. 14 days excluding the last 48 hours. So what we do is, you need to, when you're making a bid change, you need to look at a time frame, right? And analyze the data. So we picked 14 days because we've tested, 7, 14, 21, 30, and 60. And over the years, personally, we've seen that 14 days was optimal for us. It didn't cut the keyword too early. It didn't cut it too late. So for us, it was really optimal for getting results. And excluding the last 48 hours. The reason we do that is because Originally, I know Amazon has updated their attribution in terms of what they tell us, but I know originally when I started, they always said for sales, PPC sales, leave up to 48 hours attribution. It's actually longer than that. Like if you like excluded like 72 or 4 days or 5 days, you'll see that the ACoS gets better. And that's because of the attribution. There's the attribution windows. But we do the last 48 hours just because that was the one that was recommended. And we don't want to go too far out, but we don't want to be, we don't want to do the day of, and we don't want to do 5 days. So we're trying to find that optimal number of days to exclude. So that's why we did 48 hours. Variable 2 thresholds. So when I talk about thresholds, I talk about like the filters that we apply. So we're looking at keywords or targets now that they're targets, because it could be product targeting, it could be an ASIN, it could be loose match, it could be close match, it could be keyword. But we look at if they have greater than or equal to 8 clicks. Variable 3 threshold, 0 orders. So this is the cut formula, focus on 0 sale keywords. So keywords that generated no sales and are wasting money. So 0 orders. And then variable 4, we did greater than or equal to $1 spend. So we did add a spend threshold just because if it's spending less than $1, it's probably not worth even, changing it. You know what I mean? So we added this just to have a spend threshold. So let's go over cut formula optimizations. So if a keyword has greater than or equal to 8 clicks, generated 0 orders, and has greater than $1 spend, it qualifies for a bid optimization. That means we'll make a change to it. Let's go over cut formula optimizations. So here is the formula that we use to make the change. So the new bid, which is the bid change, is going to equal the cost per click times 0.75. So if it has, 8 clicks or more, 0 orders, and greater than $1 spend, then we decrease the bid to CPC times 0.75. And the reason we do that is a couple reasons. We don't cut it completely down or pause it. And the reason we don't pause it or cut it super down to like 2 cents is because when we do Amazon advertising, we always make the assumption that generally almost all of our keywords, 80 to 90% of them, are relevant to our product. And so if we decrease the bid here, we can get cheaper clicks. So we're making the assumption that the majority of our keywords are relevant. So why not decrease the bid here? Because maybe it'll convert at 12 clicks. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll convert, or maybe it'll convert at a lower CPC or a lower bid amount. That way we can, let it get some love in the ad auction, just not as much. All right, PPC Agility, hold on, cut formula walkthrough. So let me do a quick walkthrough. Give me 1 sec. So this is the login page to PPC Agility. You put your email, your password, log in, click on demo. And then I'll go over these features later, but right now we'll just focus on the cut formulas. So we've got PAT cut bleeders. So that applies this formula to product targeting ASINs. KW cut bleeders applies the formula to keywords. Enhanced SP auto cut bleeders applies this formula to auto campaigns like loose match, close match, substitutes, and complements. And then disregard the ad group cut bleeders. This one, just disregard this formula. We're going to focus on these 3 because these are the ones that I don't use this one anymore, but these 3 are the ones I like to use. So, they're pretty much the same, but I'm just going to click on one. So you see here under cuts, it gives you when it makes an adjustments. What it does is it shows you that it's done. And then what you can do is you can view the details. And you can see that the previous bid was, so let's just go over one example here. So this one was run on January 29th, 2019, right? The total spend was $108.85. So this will tell you how much money you're saving in terms of like potential savings, right? Because you see the spend here. What we do is we add it all up and then we show you, hey, with this specific cut, you spent $108.85. So you're going to save that much moving forward. Because, or somewhere near that, just because the spend will drop drastically for these keywords. So we've got the keyword here. We've got the previous bid. So this was the bid before the change was made. And this is the new bid, right? This was the spend. This was the number of clicks, so spend, which is greater than $1. Number of clicks, which is greater than or equal to 8. And then number of orders is 0 here. It also has the campaign and ad group name. And then you can see the cost per click is 48 cents. So we took 48 cents and multiplied it by 0.75, and that's how we got 0.36. Also, if you can download the CSV, and you can open it up, and it'll show you all of this information here. That way you can save this for yourself or send it to clients. And then what you can do is you can schedule formulas. So click schedule, and then you can name the formula or the schedule. You can put how often you want to do it, how often it repeats. You can put it on which days you want to do it. Put the start date, the time that you would do it on. This is pretty arbitrary. You can just leave it at whatever, as long as it's consistent. You can specify SKUs. So if you wanted, you could put in like SKU 1, comma, SKU 2, comma, SKU 3. And what it'll do is it'll only optimize those 3 SKUs. For this one, I usually don't put anything here. Like usually what I do is I just leave this blank and I do the last 14 days. And if you see here, we exclude the last 48 hours. You can also put in campaigns as well if you only want to target specific campaigns. But the way I generally use it is you put any campaigns or SKUs, and then you will click create schedule. And what will happen is it'll pop up down here with the details. You can always edit the schedule or get rid of it, but then it'll run that schedule every Monday and Thursday, and then they'll pop up here. Hold on. The results will pop up here, and you'll be able to see a list of those. And if you want, you could just click run formula and then put in the details that you want to run it. Start date, end date. But I think the schedule is way better. If you wanted to run it, that's fine. But scheduling it is a lot nicer. Awesome. So PPC Agility cut formula analysis. So number 1, be sure to confirm the optimizations were made by reviewing the results in view detail. I also recommend checking that changes were made in Campaign Manager. Audit 2 to 3 targets, which, could keywords, ASINs, auto targets to confirm changes. So I always recommend, when a cut is made, just to verify the changes were made in the Campaign Manager real quick, just to make sure it was good. 1 or 2 keywords, maybe 3, just to show that it was changed is nice. You don't have to do it every time, but maybe spot checking it every week or every other week is good. You can also download the CSV of the changes that were made to save for your records or send to a client for reporting. Yeah. Especially powerful if you're working with clients because it allows you to show them the optimizations you are making in detail. It does increase client retention, so your clients are happier and staying with you longer. So, if you want, you can send this to clients or keep it for yourself for the CSV, just to have a record of everything. And what's cool is you can also save those bids. So if you need to change them in the future. So let's go over the big thing here is this cut formula. You know the details about it, but what type of return on investment is it going to get for your Amazon business? Like monetarily, money. It'll decrease, the goal of this formula is to decrease your spend and lower your ACOS, right? So decrease in spend for the specific keywords that were cut. So you should observe if you look at a before and after analysis, you should observe a decrease in spend for the specific keywords that were cut. And this should happen immediately. I mean, seriously, like, because spend, if you look at Campaign Manager, spend is updated, like, I don't know about real time, but, throughout the day, versus sales, there's an attribution delay. So in the next 2 to 4 days, review the spend of a couple of keywords to make sure they were cut. By cutting bleeding keywords, you are decreasing the amount of wasted spend on the account and lowering the ACOS because you are not spending money on keywords that are not converting. So let's go over an example here. Let me show you. So this is one example that I had for one of the accounts I work with. We've got, we ran the formula April 9th, 2021. Total spend was $3,600, which, this account spends a lot of money. So that's not that much, to be honest. It's relative to how much you spend. But so, we're going to save potentially, the potential savings is $3,600. It's going to be less than that because those keywords might spend some money, but that's a rough estimate. Oh, one thing to note also, I forgot to mention, is that you see where it says roll back to previous bid amount. So if you run the cut formula and you don't get the results that you're looking for, then guess what you can do? You can reverse the bid changes. You just click on roll back to previous bid amount and it'll change it back to the previous bid. You see there where it says new bid and previous bid, it'll change it back. That way you can, if you make changes and you see a big decrease in your account and you can thoroughly identify that it's because of the bid optimizations, then you can roll it back for that. So I went into Campaign Manager of one of the accounts I work with because I wanted to find a before and after example of where cuts were made and the results. So I found, from April 1st to April 8th, this keyword spent $69.49. $69, had no sales, right? So before cut formulas. After cut formulas, spent $2.51. So you see, we went from spending $70 to $2. And you can see the date ranges are, the 1st through the 8th, so 8 days, and then the 9th through the 16th. So 8 days, right? So I did a straight before and after, right? I did a direct before and after, time frame wise and everything, because I wanted to show you that, we're saving $67 here. And that's one keyword. That's not the rest, right? So PPC Agility is $97 a month, right? If we go back and we see 3,615, we know some of those keywords are going to spend. So let's say we spend $1,000, or maybe let's say we spend $500 on those keywords after we cut them. Then we've saved $3,000, in one cut, and we're only spending $97 a month. So that's like, $2,900, return on investment. You know what I mean? So it's worth it when you look at the return on investment that you're getting and you calculate it. So that's the cut formula right there. Let's go over the G formula variables. So what I want to talk about is just pretty much the same thing with the cut formula. We'll go over the variables and we'll go through everything the same. But these are the two most important formulas, because they're the ones that, I have other stuff on the software, but these are the two that really have gotten the results for people over the years and have been tested on hundreds of accounts over years, 3 years now at the time of this recording. Hundreds of accounts, 3 years, 6, 7, 8-figure sellers, and it works. So variable 1, the time frame is 14 days excluding 48 hours, just like the cut formula. Variable 2 is greater than our target ACOS. So what we're doing is we need to set a target ACOS. So let's say our target ACOS is 30%. So we need to look for any keywords or ASINs or anything that is above 30% ACOS. And that's our only threshold. It's above if it's above our target ACOS. G formula optimizations. So let's go over the specific optimization that's made. So this formula, the goal here is to lower the ACOS, right? That's the goal. So let's go over the formula. The new bid, which is the change that we make to the bid, equals 1 minus, you can really like the formula. I know it's a little kind of complicated or whatever looking, but really it's just we take the target ACOS, we subtract it from the current ACOS, and then we multiply it by the current bid. So for example, let's say our target ACOS is, actually, hold on, or is it current minus target? Give me 1 sec. 30. Current ACOS. Actually, hold on. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, I think that's right. Hold on 1 sec. All right, sorry about the pattern interrupt here. I had to quickly pause the video and change the formula. It's current ACOS minus target ACOS times current bid. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you have $1 bid. Your current ACOS is 30%, and your target ACOS is 25%. Then guess what will happen? It'll decrease it by 5%. So it'll change it from $1 to 95 cents. And, we came up with this formula because it just made sense, right? It's a graded scale, which means that or gradient scale where I don't know how to explain it, where the impact of the change, is directly correlated to how far outside our target it is. So we do have another formula here as well to prevent a keyword from just getting killed off completely. So if the new bid is below 80% of the cost per click, then the new bid equals the cost per click. So I'll give you an example where this could exist. Let's say we have a 200% ACOS for a keyword and our target ACOS is 30% and our bid is $1. Then if you run the formula, it's going to end up being a negative number or, negative number. So what we do is to prevent that from happening. So first off, the negative number won't go through on Amazon. But let's say we did it was really low. It went from $1 to 2 cents or 3 cents. Well, what we would do is if it's below 80% of the cost per click, then the new bid is the cost per click, which means that, it prevents a keyword from being killed off completely. Because if you have a keyword that generated a sale, you might only need to decrease the bid to be able to decrease their cost per click to get lower, to get a lower ACOS. So let's go through the formula on this one real quick. So we've got auto campaigns. So this is for old auto campaigns. A lot of you, if you're new to selling on Amazon, the only campaigns that are the ones that have, loose match, close match, substitutes, and complements. But years ago, auto campaigns only had an ad group and they didn't have those 4 targeting features. It was just nothing there pretty much. And so you don't necessarily, you're most likely not going to have to use this formula. This is for older auto campaigns, but I'll focus on the formulas that matter most. So we've got product targeting G. This is the same as PAT cut bleeders. It targets product targeting, so targets campaigns with ASINs in them. This is for sponsored products, by the way. I just want to let you know that all these bid optimizations are for sponsored products specifically. Enhanced SP Auto G. So this is for the auto campaigns with the loose match, close match, the 4 targeting options. And KWG. This is for the G formula for keyword targeting. And it's the same as the cut bleeders. You can schedule it. You can run the formula. It'll show you the results here. You can change it back to the previous bid amount. So for example, if you run this formula and you see that, it really decreased your sales or negatively affected this account, you can revert it back to the previous bids. Download the CSV like before, shows the date range, everything like that. And it has the list of keywords here. So it'll give you the new bid, previous bid, spend clicks, cost per click, ACOS, orders, and sales. And then we make changes based on the ACOS. You can schedule it just like the other one. The only difference is you're going to need to set a target ACOS. So you need to figure out what your target ACOS is for your account, and then you'll want to do that. You can also target specific SKUs, which I think in this situation is a bit more helpful. So you can either have an account level target ACOS, hey, I just want my account to be 30% or less, or you can have product level ACOS. Like for example, if you've got a product that's 50% margin and then one that's 30%, you might want to create two different schedules here, and then you can put in SKU 1, and then your target ACOS is 50%, and then you could create a schedule, and then you could create a second schedule with SKU 2, and then do 30% if margins are different. That way you can create multiple schedules for multiple SKUs. Awesome. Let me go back here. Edit this. Hold on, let me do something real quick. There we go. So it's the same as before. Just confirm the optimizations were made by reviewing the results in view detail. Check a couple keywords to make sure that the changes were made to the keywords or the ASINs or the targeting. And then you can also download the CSV as well, just like the cut formulas, right? You can do the same stuff with the G formula as the cut formulas. So the goal really here is to lower the ACOS and cost per click. Sometimes the spend goes down, but sometimes it doesn't, which is not a bad thing as long as the ACOS goes down. So the goal here is to lower the ACOS and CPC for the specific keywords or ASINs or targets that were cut. This will take longer to analyze than the cut formula results. So in the next 7 days, review the ACOS of a couple of keywords and look for a trend of lower ACOS. Sometimes this does take even longer than 7 days. Spend also usually decreases for these keywords. ACOS is one of those things that it fluctuates drastically because, buyer spend habits just fluctuate. And so that's why you need a longer time frame, 7 days, 14 days to make decisions. So I'm going to show you a result for mine. So we've got one here. Hold on. Is that the same? No. So this is just an example of a cut that we did with results as well that I'm just sharing here. And we spent like $855 on, high ACOS keywords. And so over the next week or two, we're hoping to see that go down, and we're hoping to see the ACOS go down. That's the goal. So let me show you an example here. So this is before we run the formula. So I did 21 days. So, 7 days is minimum, but longer the better. Like I would say like even up to 30 days is okay to see changes. I don't usually go past 30 days because month to month, man, we've seen that keywords just fluctuate in terms of performance. And so I'll do like, in terms of analyses, 7, 14, 21, 30, just to check things out and see how things are trending, because that's what I'm looking for, a trend. So before G formula, 36.61% ACOS, $1.44 cost per click for this specific keyword. The date range here is March 1st to the 21st. So it's 21 days. We spent about $72. Cost per click was $1.44. We had 10 orders, which is almost $200 in sales. Let's see what happened after we made the change. Now, you might be thinking, man, like, hey, Sean, you could literally like, I can't show you the keyword. You know what I mean? Like, you're probably thinking like he could just put in 2 different keywords, right? Yeah, I could just show you 2 different keywords. You will have to trust me on this. I can't share this information because it's not my information to share. This is client information and client data. So you're just going to have to trust that I'm telling you the truth, because I am. I'm not going to, I don't make fictitious results up. That's not part of who I am. It wouldn't, for me, it wouldn't be healthy, like just from not even like, what was I going to say? It's not good for you and it's not good for me. A lot of people think that like, hey, like, if somebody manipulates someone and they get what they want, then that's good for the individual who did the manipulation and got what they want. But for me, it's not, because you start to, when you start to like do these negative things, it just affects you as well. And so just wanted to let you know, like, there is integrity here, even though you can't see the keywords. I am using the same exact keyword, and I'm showing you those results. So you just have to trust me on this one. All right, cool. It's not in my interest or your interest to not tell the truth. It's important to tell the truth. So let me show you the results here. So before G formula and then after G formula. So ACoS decreased by about 5%, from 36.61% to 31.24%. So about 5 points. Our cost per click went down 33 cents from $1.44 to $1.11. Our spend, $84. $84 in spend. $1.11 CPC. Orders were $14 and $270 in sales. So we even saw a bump in sales and spend. So, in this situation, we saw an increase in sales and spend. And so, that happens sometimes. But really, like, I think the big takeaway is here, like, what we're always looking for is just, like, my two main metrics are ACoS and CPC. Those are the two ones. Those are the two that I care about the most, is like ACoS and cost per click when it comes to the G formula. Remaining formulas and features. All right, real quick, let's just quickly cover the other features. And formulas. So we've got ad group bid up, target bid up, and keyword bid up. So these, let me open one up. Basically, very similar to the other ones, except what it does is it increases the bids of keywords with the ACoS below the target ACoS. So you know how the G formula will take your current ACoS and subtract it from your target ACoS? This does the same thing, except it targets keywords that are below your ACoS. So let's say you have a keyword that's a 10% ACoS and your target is 30%. Then this formula will increase the bid by 20%. So the goal with this one is to increase sales volume. I'll be honest, I don't use this very much. I hardly ever use this ever, just because generally what we've seen is that it's not hard to spend more money, but it's really hard to, optimize down. And what we've learned in the marketplace over the past, few years, or the years that I've been, at this time, it's been 5 years I've been doing Amazon advertising, but we've learned that the biggest problem is not a low ACoS, it's a high ACoS. And so that's why our formulas, the ones that I went into in depth, are focused on that lowering that ACoS, because that's been the biggest problem for people. But I just wanted to show you that this will increase those bids. This will do it for your product targets, like your ASINs. This one will do it for the keywords. And this will do it for the ad groups. Whitelisted keywords, what this allows you to do is it allows you to basically like add a keyword. You have to select the match type, the campaign, and the ad group, because we need to know specifically which one you're targeting. But what it allows you to do is if you add a keyword to whitelisted keywords, let's say you want to rank for a keyword and you don't mind if it's at a 60% ACoS, even though your target's a 30, you can add it to this list. And when you run the formulas, it will not touch that keyword. That's whitelisting. And we do have a campaign feature where you can create auto campaigns. Now I'll be honest, I really don't use auto campaigns as much as I used to, because they're not as effective as manual campaigns. And even on launches, we've had students launch without auto campaigns and just crush it. But if you do want to use this, you can. It'll just launch. What it does is you can put the SKU, it'll launch 3 auto campaigns, right? It creates the budgets, the bids, and everything. And it does it based on, and you click on get bid recommendation for each auto targeting option. So, it'll use the suggested bids for each, like, substitutes, complements, loose match, and close match. But you could also create a campaign for each targeting type. So you could create a campaign for each targeting type, man. So close match, loose match, complements, substitutes. I honestly, man, I've been, really steering these days, at the time of this recording, I've been steering away from auto campaign use because of its inefficiency. It just does not do as well as manual campaigns. And if you know how to do the keyword research for your product, then you might as well just hit those main keywords and rank for them instead of wasting money with an auto campaign. Now I know, now don't just do what I say on this, and not do auto campaigns, because I didn't really go in depth on why, but that's why I just want to let you know this isn't a feature that I use very often because times have changed. I was using auto campaigns used to be a part of what I do for every product launch, but now that I'm getting more research from my students, things are changing. And you know how it is. Amazon advertising is always changing. All right, guys. So here's what we've covered. PPC Agility's origin story, benefits for Amazon sellers, PPC consultants, and PPC agency owners, cut formulas, G formulas, and remaining formulas and features. So here's your action items. First off, you need to I forgot to put it on here, but get your PPC Agility account set up. So do that, step one. And, I guess now that it would change this, so that step's not on here, but schedule your cut bleeders. I recommend setting this up for Monday and Thursday. Schedule your G formulas. I recommend setting this up for Monday if you are launching campaigns every other week. If you launch campaigns weekly, then I recommend setting this up for Monday and Thursday. And to end on a quote, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. So I will say this, my technology is not artificial intelligence. It's not super fancy. It's rule-based. It's pretty simple. But for me, it is magic because even though I know everything that's happening, it's amazing to see how I can go from, here's the reason it's magic to me. And the reason it meant so much to me was because I can go from, using the advertising console and spending so much time on it to not using it at all. And for me, that's kind of the magical part, right? Is I can go from here to there. And so that's where the magic lies for me is, being able to step away from that ad console and it just happens on the back end and just boom, And so that's why for me, it is kind of like magic, right? Because I'm going from clicking buttons to nothing happening. And it's almost kind of like, my process disappeared. But I love this quote. This was really cool. And it's true for me. When I look at technology, for me, it is just magical and it's amazing, especially I'm in the technology space. So software is really impressive to me. But yeah. All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and I will talk to you later. Bye.